I thought that the hardest part of getting a surgery is getting the surgery, but no, it was constipation. 7 weeks ago, I had a laparoscopy surgery in order to remove a dermoid tumor that was growing on my right ovary. During that experience, what I ate greatly influenced how I felt and also how I recovered. I only got a one-liner advice from my nurse, which is to have a liquid meal on your first meal and then slowly go back to your normal eating habits. So I made a few mistakes. That's what inspired me to make this video. I had no idea that what I ate had such a huge impact on how quickly and how well I recovered, and I just want to make this post-laparoscopy journey a little bit better for all of us. So let's get on to it. How does a laparoscopy affect your digestion? Firstly, you'll be receiving 3, 4, 5 incisions depending on the nature of your operation. And like any wounds, these incisions will have soreness and swelling in and around the site for a few days to a few weeks after your surgery. Secondly, they tend to pump gas into your abdominal cavity during a laparoscopy in order to expand it and increase the visibility of your surgeon. Now, a lot of this gas is actually expelled before the surgery ends. However, there is some excess gas that will remain in your abdomen for a few days to a few weeks after your surgery. The third thing is something called abdominal distension, which refers to the loosening of your abdominal muscles, which normally would hold all of your organs tightly together. So post-surgery, you will notice that these organs tend to sag or bulge out more than usual. The fourth thing is something called intestinal freezing, and this is when you get a surgery or any type of trauma around your abdomen. Your intestines' mobility tend to be low, meaning that it cannot push any gas, fluid, or solids through. Finally, due to the effects of anesthesia or any post-surgery medication you might be taking, you could have nausea and loss of appetite for a limited amount of time after your surgery. So all in all, you'll feel great. Your post-surgery diet really has 3 objectives. The first one is to not further irritate your digestion and even to find food that would lessen or neutralize those effects. The second one is to stimulate the natural processes in your body that contribute to healing your wounds. And finally, to meet your daily caloric needs. In fact, you'll actually be needing a little bit more than your normal caloric needs because your body is going to be working hard to heal your wounds and to heal your body. You can do this in a couple of ways. The first one is to focus on familiar ingredients and recipes that you know will not upset your digestion. I focused on homemade, minimally processed ingredients that I know will help cleanse and calm my digestion down. The second thing is to fast. Now, this is something you're probably going to be asked to do anyway. For instance, I was asked to fast no later than midnight on the day of my surgery. Now, I did decide to go a little bit earlier than that just because I practice intermittent fasting on a regular basis. However, please do consult with your surgical team what is the best for your case. All in all, these 2 factors contribute to having a well-rested, spacious, and well-prepared digestive system on the day that the storm hits. The second tip is to focus on the liquid diet for the first few days after the recovery. I actually will recommend you to do this for the first meal, like in my case. And they do this for a couple of reasons. The first one is to check if you have any severe nausea following the anesthesia or any pain medication you might be prescribed. The second thing is to test the state of your digestion. The crucial thing about a liquid diet is still meeting your caloric needs, and you can do this by having protein supplements, for example, boost, broth, smoothies, vegetable, fruit juices. The third tip is the oldest one of all, and that is to eat your fruits and vegetables. They're just available in a large variety. For example, you can pick an entire variety that have anti-constipatory effects. Even bigger than that, they are such an easy source of vitamins A and C, which are actually essential components in wound healing and in repairing the skin around your wound. Something that helped me is to incorporate them in fruit smoothies. In my case too, my sister sent me an entire box of those juices. This is a Canadian company that manufactures cold press juices, and they have such a large variety for every taste. They have something a bit sweeter, more fruit-based, and then they also have some more vegetable-based juices. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've actually consumed this every day, and I noticed how much better I felt when I was doing that to the days that I wasn't. The fourth tip is to snack a lot. In my case, I had severe appetite loss for 3 to 5 days after my surgery, and mobility wise it was difficult to eat. I was barely eating half of my normal portions. Problem with that is I still needed to meet my caloric needs, and so introducing snacks in between meals, for example, just some light biscuits, fruits, even having smoothies in between meals. I was actually recommended to also consume yogurt because it contains prebiotics that will help reawaken the microorganisms in my digestive tract. This tip goes hand in hand with the previous one. Having smaller yet more frequent meals will allow for your digestion to not be so overwhelmed at one time and to just have a very consistent workflow, and that will allow your digestive system not only to start reawakening because you're putting it to work, but also letting it recover because it's still quite a bit too fragile to get overwhelmed that quickly. The most important one, please have a stool softener or laxative prepared. This isn't something I thought would be necessary, but on the third day of my surgery, I was so constipated. I felt so terrible. I was sure they were going to wheel me back to the emergency room. We decided to phone the hospital nurse, and she told me that I could actually be given a mild laxative, which is something I didn't know beforehand. And after I took the laxative, everything changed. I felt so much better. The heaviness was just emptied from my abdominal cavity. For that reason, I strongly recommend that before your surgery, you already ask your surgeon or your doctor what mild laxative would be recommended for your case, as well as in line with the medication you will be prescribed after the surgery. It really doesn't hurt to have it prepared beforehand, even if you don't know how good or how bad your digestion is going to be post-surgery. The final tip is all about mobility. So this is something they might explain to you when you are in the recovery room. The more mobile you are, the quicker your intestines and your abdominal muscles are going to be reawakened and then slowly go back into their normal shape. I made a mistake on the first day that I was home from the hospital, and I felt so terrible that I just laid in bed, and that actually increased the constipatory effects and also made me feel gassier. So I would recommend that you have a consistent schedule to follow. Let's say every couple of hours you walk around your living room or outside in your garden for 5 to 10 minutes. I'm going to put this in as an extra tip, but this disposable postpartum underwear was so helpful to me. Now this is, again, like the name suggests, for pregnant women to use after they've given birth, but I found it super helpful for my surgical scars as well. They are boy shorts, so they kind of wear like biker shorts. They go from your thighs up to just below your breast, and that is so helpful because then your surgical wounds are going to be protected, especially after you're asked to remove the plaster and the bandages around it. Hi friends, we've made it to the end of this video, and I just want to thank you again for tuning in. I just want to say that everyone reacts to laparoscopy differently, and so our recovery patterns will and may be largely different. For example, in my case, it took me 2 to 3 weeks just to feel a little bit normal again, and still after that there were a few hiccups here and there trying to go back to my normal daily life. I have to say that this will be my last video in a while about my dermoid tumor, just because I want to focus on trying to make other content for this summer. However, I will get back onto this, especially after I've had my post-surgical doctor's appointment. And that being said, I just really want to encourage you to be patient with yourself and take it slow. You've received multiple incisions and your body is just not going to be the same for a while. But like we've seen in this video, a little preparation does go a long way when it comes to your recovery diet, because it will stimulate how quickly and also how well you're going to go back to your normal daily life. And that's it. And I just want to say, let's see each other on our next walk. Bye bye.